All right, what's going on, everybody? G Funky Boxing is back, early morning edition, and glad you guys can join me. I know it's earlier than usual than I'd be going on, but I'm up and figured I'd just get a quick video in before I get started with my day. And I'm gonna wait here a few minutes to for the familia to show up so we can get to this boxing talk. And that's the point of this video here is I want to get back to that. Um, some things have happened over the last couple of days, and I want to talk about that real quickly. Smash the like button on the way in, guys. Smash it. But here's what I'm going to say to everybody. Thank you all for being here and for listening, and thank you to all my subscribers who have been with me for a long time now. I've been here since 2011, 9 years now. I've been doing videos here on YouTube, talking boxing with you guys. The last year and some change have been by far the best time that I've had here on YouTube. Shout out to my homie D Style, my brother D Style. Pulled me, like I said, pulled me from the grave. When I came back, I took a long break. I came back, and he, invited me to do a show with him, and we've been rolling ever since, man. And it's been really good, man. HCP is growing, and we're going to continue to grow this thing. And I want to just say this to you guys. Now, I know there probably won't be a whole lot of people here joining me live, but for those of you that catch this later, when you wake up or whenever you got a chance to check it out, I want to just say, look, man, I apologize for the things that I said. Well, I shouldn't say the things that I said, but for the type of videos that I made recently, at least one in particular. That's not why I made my channel. I made my channel to come on here and talk boxing, man. I didn't come on here to talk about what other people say, or I mean, there's a lot of channels that do that. The whole base of their channel is to talk about what other people are saying instead of just talking about what's going on in the sport. And I'm not going to be one of those channels. I never wanted to be one of those channels. And I know I kind of played into it yesterday, but here's the thing, man. Sometimes things happen and you got to address it, And for me, the things that I was hearing and the things that have been going on were just some of the most ugly and disgusting things that I've seen happen here on YouTube. And like I said, I've been here a long time, since 2011. When I stepped in and started making videos, it was the Mayweather fans versus the Pacquiao fans. Then it was the Pacquiao fans against all the Mexican fans, because Pacquiao was fighting a lot of Mexicans at the time. Then the Canelo fans came on after those guys were kind of going away. Now we got extreme fans again showing up for Deontay Wilder, and it's just getting bad, And I just want to say this: I will not be making videos like that anymore, man. And it's not because I'm afraid of what people are going to say. It's just like you see in my logo in the middle, and like you see at the bottom of the screen. This is the home of real boxing talk. So I'm going to stick to it. I'm going to just stick to boxing. That's it, man. Shout out to Cano Loco, Drew Marshall, Black and Brown. What's going on, guys? Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm not gonna do videos like that no more, man. I've already done what I had to do. I've unsubscribed to a lot of channels here. It's just better. It's just better that way. It's for the best, to just say I'm not gonna listen to the garbage anymore. I'm not going to, man. But the reason I reacted to these things is because these channels were good channels at one time, but they've gone so far to left field that it's just honestly I don't think there's any point of return now. And that's fine. If that's the way that they want to run their shit, they can run their shit that way. Like I don't care, man. HCP is going to do what HCP always does, and that's give you guys the best boxing talk here on YouTube. I mean, I know this might sound biased, but I feel like HCP is probably the best boxing show out there right now, or one of the best. We give you guys we cover a lot of fights. We give you guys thorough breakdowns. We don't create narratives. We even add comedy. I mean, we do a lot of stuff. So I feel like the work that we do is far beyond what a lot of people do out here, and I want to continue doing that. I want to grow HCP. You know what I'm saying? And all of you guys um that continue to support the channel. I love you guys, man. This is exactly why I started this channel. It's not to blow up, not to get rich off this, not to get paid or anything like that. I've already accomplished some major goals here, man, in my time. Goals that I thought I would never accomplish, you know? Like like doing a podcast on a big network like Leave It in the Ring, you know? That was a goal of mine to have a show like that. Another goal was to actually talk to some of these fighters, and I've got a chance to do that. I mean, I've accomplished some of my major goals when I first started this channel back in 2011, and I'm not gonna let these other things get in the way, man. I want to continue to grow, man. And you'll never see you'll never see me behaving the way that some of these guys behave. And this is something that I've said consistently on my channel from day one, is that you won't see me becoming a fanboy for any fighter. Now, it's okay to be a fan of a fighter as long as you can be honest about that fighter. I feel like a lot of times people, they just can't be honest when it comes to when they become these extreme fans. And at that point I just can't take your opinion seriously anymore, because you're just being a fanboy. There's a difference between being a boxing fan and a fanboy. And I made you guys a promise from the beginning that I won't do that. I do my best to stay right down the middle and be honest, not make excuses for anybody or myself, which is why I'm here and apologizing to you guys for some of the things that have gone on recently. That's not what I want to do here. It's just not. I just felt like things were getting so ugly and so nasty and so toxic, and people being very hypocritical. I had to say something. You know, I'm not perfect, and I don't claim to be. I'm not above correction. If you guys want to hold my feet to the fire on certain topics, you're more than welcome to, man. I give you guys the opportunity, if you disagree with me, to come on and talk with me about it. That's what I love about the way that YouTube has evolved, is I get to come on here and talk with you guys. Before it wasn't like that. Before it was just like comment section. Like you make a video and then you get people to leave comments and you type away, for a long time. I spent a lot of time typing, man, back in the early part of my channel. But now I actually get to, we got things like StreamYard now where you could send somebody a link and they could come on and just talk. It's it's much easier that way. And that's great, man, because I've got a chance to meet and talk with some really great boxing minds here on YouTube, guys that I never thought I would get a chance to speak to. So it's great, man. It's great. I love it. And that's what I'm going to continue to do, man. That's why I started this thing, man. Like when I was a young man, my first real job working, I was working in a production department for the local media outlet here in my city, and it was predominantly males working there, so a lot of sports talk was going on, whether it be NBA, NFL, baseball. Boxing was one of those sports that when it got brought up, people got very passionate about it, at least the ones that knew something about boxing, you know what I'm saying? And I was the youngest guy out of the whole group, and people were surprised at the knowledge that I had of the sport. Not just current fighters, but fighters of the past. I gotta give people credit, like my grandfather, my father, even my mom. She was into boxing too. They taught me a lot about the fighters of their time. And I mean, I would be throwing names out there, throwing fights out there, and these guys were shocked to hear a young man say mention fighters' names, mention certain fights. Sure, we've gotten into some shouting matches at work over certain things, but that happens, man. There's nothing wrong with that. As long as we stick to boxing, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all, man. That's really great. To have a discussion about things that we disagree on. And like I said, as long as it doesn't get personal, it's good. But that's the main reason why I started this thing, because eventually, I moved on from that job. A lot of those guys I don't see anymore. There is one guy who I became really good friends with, and ever since then we still get together and watch fights together. You know what I'm saying? Like it's man, it's really cool, man. Like I met this guy when I was 18 years old back in 2002, and what's funny is my very first day, he's the guy that trained me. We started talking boxing and other sports, and ever since then, it's been like the coolest thing, man. Like big fights come up, he would come over. We'd all drop money on the fight so we could see it. I mean, I'm talking almost 20 years now. We've been doing this. I stopped working there a long time ago, and we still, like I said, we still hook up for every big fight. Not so much during the pandemic, but um, just about every big fight that I've watched since then, he's been there, and we've watched it together, and it's just been great, man. That's the kind of relationship that I love, man. That I can have someone to talk boxing with, and that's the way I feel like with a lot of you guys, man. Like once this pandemic is over, any of you guys that are in the area, man, in Northern California, we're gonna all get together eventually and watch some fights together. I think that would be a really cool thing to do, man. Shout out to D Hodges, Nopal, Joe Lopez, 40 ounces, man. Thank you guys for being here so much. But yeah, I'm just gonna leave the garbage in the garbage from now on, man. Run PMC, what's good, bro? Yeah, I'm just gonna leave the garbage in the garbage from now on, man. Like I said, I've already unsubscribed to a lot of people that just they can't keep it boxing, so I'm not even gonna watch anymore. It's really a waste of time. People that I know that are good people have really gone bad with their content, man, and I just can't take it anymore. 92 AKU, what's good, bro? Thanks for being here, man. Yeah, no, Paul, it's gonna happen, bro. Trust me. As soon as all this shit is over, man, it's gonna happen. That's right, baby. I seen the light. Yeah. No, I'm just getting back to what I've always done, 92 AQ, and that's just keep it boxing, man. The home of real boxing talk, baby. This is the home of the truth, baby. All right. We got to keep pushing this truth out there, you know? But that's really all I'm going to say on that topic, man. I want to get back to just talking boxing, you know? We'll get you there one day, man. Don't worry, bro. We'll get you there one day. But yeah, this ain't gonna be a long video. Like I said, it's only got a couple of topics here I want to talk about, but that's that on that, man. You guys won't see me doing that anymore, man. But Canelo made some big news, man, this week. Yeah, I could already hear the fans. Canelo, Canelo, Canelo. Yeah, he finally got out of his contract with the zone. And I want to say this, man. He's not here. I wish he was here though, so he could hear this. But I want to give out a shout out to my brother Chicano Prophet. Chicano Prophet, you know, he almost predicted this would happen, man. Maybe that's why he calls himself Chicano Prophet, you know. He said he had a feeling that Canelo was going to come back sooner than we think, you know, and man, he was spot on, man. So I want to give him some credit, some major credit, you know, for predicting that. And it's a good thing, man, to see him back. And he's talking about fighting Caleb Plant, which I think is a really good fight. Now they got a little over a month. They're talking about December 12th. And we'll see if Plant wants to fight or not, you know? I mean, he hasn't fought since earlier this year. It's been over a year now for Canelo. And both guys should be fresh, should be ready to go, you know? Let's get a 4-week camp, baby. Let's go, you know? I'm excited to see him back in the ring. Now, from my understanding, now again, I'm not the best when it comes to these kind of things. But my other brother, Santeo Media, was dropping some knowledge on Twitter the other day where he was talking about how Canelo Promotions was an actual thing, you know, back in 2016 for a few years, and don't know if that's the case anymore, but from that letter that was sent out from Team Canelo, they had the little logo on the side, you know, that said Canelo Promotions. So maybe that's going to be, you know, the new promotional banner that he's under, his own, which he doesn't. I mean, I think he's to the point now where he doesn't need a promoter like Oscar, you know. And I also want to give shout out to Oscar. You know, I know he didn't want to let Canelo go, but he you know, it didn't seem like he was upset or anything. You know, he put out a statement. You know, he just said, "Hey, you know, we made it easy for him to you know to break off and go do what he wants to do. Best of luck to him." Says, you know, they're going to continue to grow their young fighters like Virgil Ortiz, Ryan Garcia, Jaime Munguia. You know, at least two of those guys got a good chance to do something big for Golden Boy. You know, Munguia, I'm still kind of questioning him. I mean, he could put asses in the seats because you know I have a feeling he's going to be one of those guys that's going to be in a lot of exciting fights, and you know people like to see that. People like to see fights, you know. So I feel like, I mean, I know a lot of people have been saying that, Canelo's been keeping that ship alive, Um, I mean, we'll find out. We'll find out if that's the truth or not. Um, I think definitely Ortiz and Garcia, those two guys there got a real opportunity to keep Golden Boy alive if they stick with De La Hoya. Um, Virgil Ortiz is a guy who has a tremendous upside, you know, a tremendous upside. And if they promote him right, which, they should, he could be a big star soon. And same thing with Ryan Garcia. I mean, we already see he's established a pretty big uh, fan base by himself on social media. Um, we'll see if that can translate over into the real boxing world. I know his last fight against Fonseca, there's a pretty big crowd there in the Anaheim arena. So we'll see, man. I mean, I think if Ryan Garcia shows up to his fight with Luke Campbell and wins in impressive fashion, which I think he is, man. I know you guys probably think I'm crazy for saying this, but I think Garcia is going to win that fight. I think he's going to win it impressively. I do. I really do, man. I'm not going to tell you why because, again, I'm going to be dropping that prediction soon. But I think he's going to win that fight, man. I don't think it's going to be easy, but I think when the fight's over and he wins it, I think we're going to be saying, man, that was an impressive performance by Ryan Garcia. Now, Ortiz, I'm not sure what he's got lined up in the near future, but I'm loving what I'm seeing from him, man. I'm loving what I'm seeing from him. I don't think he gets him out of there in two. Um, like I said, I think he's going to win. I don't know if it's by knockout or what yet, but there's a lot of guys that, they like to say a lot of things about Ryan Garcia. And, I'm not going to say he doesn't bring a lot of that shit on himself, but at the end of the day, one thing you got to respect about Ryan Garcia is that he comes in ready to fight, man. Doesn't matter who he's in there with. He comes in there, he's always in great shape. And I mean, look what he's done to his last two opponents. I'm gonna be like, but those guys were nobody. I mean, we could say that about Fonseca for sure. Like, I think he's past it at this point. Duno was a guy that people said he wasn't. That he was Garcia was afraid of him. He was ducking him. This guy had, was gonna knock Garcia out, and look, Garcia got him out of there in one round, man. So I mean, he shows up. He shows up ready to go, and we see the results of that. We see the results. But as far as Canelo goes, it's looking like Plant in December. Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth, 92 Aku. Let me get that. Hold on. That would be a nice lineup. That'd be a real nice lineup. Yep. I agree, man. And now he's put himself in a position where he could fight anybody, which is a great thing, man. He could fight anybody that he wants to fight right now because he's not tied down to Golden Boy or DAZN anymore, and everybody's going to be gunning for him. Now, I mean, Charlo, like, people have been running around saying things about how Canelo's scared of him, Canelo's ducking him. Like, I don't see that. I mean, I mean, his own brother said that he turned down a ton of money. A ton of money. And the fight didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? It just didn't happen. But we'll see now. Charlo had himself a pay-per-view back in September. Got himself some exposure, you know. Got in there with some good competition in Derevyanchenko. So, and not to mention, Team Canelo already said that 2021 they want Charlo. You know what I'm saying? They said they want it, so let's get it on, man. You know G Funk ain't afraid. I want to see all these fights, man. I think they're all good fights. I want to see them all, baby. We want them all. Remember Corey Spinks? After he beat Ricardo Mayorga, he's like, I want them all, baby. We want them all. Yeah. And I've spoke out on that, man. I've spoke out on that. And the cartel, the Canelo cartel, they came at me, man. They came at me hard. You guys gotta be ready for that. You know what I'm saying? You guys gotta be ready for that. The Canelo cartel, man, they got eyes everywhere. They're ready. They're ready to roll. You know what I'm saying? What's going on, Raider? I see you here. What's up, man? So yeah, maybe that's a good video we could set up, man. With the Canelo cartel, we could talk about the negotiations and stuff like that, you know. But people got to understand, like I mean, it's not the first time that somebody uses their A side leverage, you know. I mean, it's part of boxing, you know. I mean, he's been utilizing that for a long time. But the thing is this, like, if somebody A side somebody else and and the B side agrees to the terms, then we really can't we really can't say nothing at that point. They agreed to the terms, you know. If there was something there in the negotiations that they said, hey, you know, I don't like this shit. Can we change it? The A side says no, like, you know, they have their opportunity to walk away. You know what I'm saying? Give me 1 second, guys. Got something with my daughter. Give me a second. All right, I'm back. You know what? I have a feeling that's going to happen too. I hope not, because I see that fight. I think it's a good fight. But the way that Plants behaved in the past, when he had a lot more time, you know. But we'll see, man. I gave him a pass the first time. Really curious to see what he says this time. Now, has there been a serious offer out there? I think Black and Brown asked that question earlier. I don't know that. I don't know if they've even sent anything over to Plant's team to you know, make an offer or anything. I have no idea. I just know that that's what I've heard from multiple sources on the internet about Canelo. So that's a good fight. I want to see it. Hopefully, hopefully he takes it, man, because I think that's a real good fight. Better than Yildrum. Better than Advil, your drum, you know? If you want a link, bro, you can come on. Let me know. Not an issue. Although I would like to set up a show, you know what I'm saying, where we could get, other minds on it, but all right, give me a second, Kano. I'll send it to you. See what I can do. You guys, give me 1 second here, man. G Funk trying to get this link out for Kano Loco. G Funk is multitasking right now, man. I got my daughter here. I gotta send the link out to my boy Kano. All right, Kano, I sent it in the Discord, bro. Click on it whenever you're ready, bro, and I'll let you on. Was this Black and Brown? I said, remember when Oscar said he will never get this offer again? I disagree. Oh, about Plant? Oh, yeah, I do. I do remember that. I mean, Oscar said a lot of things that I didn't agree with, ever since he's been promoting, which is why I had my doubts when he said what he said about Charlo, how they sent him a lucrative offer, you know. Um, I'm the type of guy, and I've consistently said this, I like to see proof, and it wasn't until I heard Jermel come out and say that his brother didn't take 15 million, then I got no choice but to believe it at that point. Gano Loco's here, guys. Let's see.
Hey, what's going on, people?
What's going on, Gano? How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. Typing kind of makes it sound like I'm bashing him. I'm not bashing Canelo by no means. Um, what I was trying to say is that I've been at negotiating tables and those kind of things. When you add stipulations, rehydration clauses, and all these little extras, make it tougher to negotiate. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that to bash him. I'm saying that to try to explain why some of these fights do not happen and don't get made. And I am in total agreement with you. Once they sign, then that needs to be erased and off the table because now you've agreed to the terms of the fight. But when it comes to negotiating a fight, like with Charlo, I don't know what the stipulations were. I don't know what the clauses were. So I'm pretty sure that had a lot to do with why that fight did not happen. I don't consider that a duck as much as I do a negotiating that just didn't go right.
That's very possible. Very possible. It's not the first time we've heard these sort of things when it comes to Canelo and negotiating. I was to the understanding that he put a rehydration clause on Kovalev, but then Buddy McGirt came out I think about a week or two after that fight on the Leave It in the Ring network. Shout out to Leave It in the Ring network, by the way. If you guys aren't subscribed to Leave It in the Ring here on YouTube, man, I don't know what's wrong with you guys. You better subscribe. But he got Buddy McGirt on a few weeks after that fight, and they said, if there was a rehydration clause in the contract, we wouldn't have signed the contract. So, I mean, there was some bad reporting there. That's not to say that Canelo hasn't done it in the past, because it wouldn't surprise me.
I just didn't want to keep typing because I think Nopal misunderstood me typing. Typing does kind of sound kind of dry and may even come across as hate, but it's really not, I mean, Canelo has gave out generous deals before, so it's not like he's always had this going on. We understand he is the A side, just like when Mayweather was the A side. He had a lot of things going on in his negotiations as well.
Oh yeah.
This is not a one-sided thing to one fighter. This is just the way it is, I'm sure that Teofimo Lopez, now being the A side, is going to start adding clauses and stipulations in his too, which is fine. It is perfectly fine. Just don't expect negotiations to go as quickly and as fast as before, because not everybody's going to want to agree to those terms. That is all I'm saying. Not a hate, not a bash.
Yeah, I agree, man. Um, and I've spoken out on a lot of what Canelo has done here on my channel, man. I mean, believe me, man, I'm no stranger to talking about some of the things that he's done here in the past, or present. And again, we don't know uh, what was in that contract, other than this is all I know. Um, Oscar had came out and said, "Hey, we made Charlo a lucrative deal." Now, again, he didn't go into details. That was all he said. Now, for months, I did not believe that because, again, you can't always take these promoters' words as gold. You just can't,
Correct.
Um, it wasn't until when Charlo, when Jermell Charlo went on his, I think it was Instagram or something, he's getting all heated, he's getting all fired up, and his brother was in the chat. He says, I would never duck fucking Canelo for 15 million, and it's like, whoa, what was that? You know what I'm saying? And at that point, it was like, man, I got no choice but to believe it at that point. Now, again, as far as the fine print and all that, I have no idea. I have no clue. But I mean, man, 15 million is a lot of money to walk away from, and I know that's a part of the trick too. Is that, um, you know, things can be put in there, and then guys can walk away, and then, like you said, people say, well, it's a duck, but then it's like we don't know what's inside of that contract either. But once that ink hits the paper and you put that signature on there, man, there's no coming back from that, man. You just got to accept the terms and deal with it. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I just seen it a lot, man. I've even seen it on a lower level. I'm at a gym down here where we got prospects and stuff, man. And I've just seen stuff being thrown out on the web and on social medias, but me in the background saying, man, that's not even close to what's being spoken. You know what I'm saying? So I know better than to believe what the media is throwing out there. You don't always. It's more like a hype thing to get everybody talking about the fights.
Mm-hmm. And we got Mr. Pound for Pound in the chat. What's going on, man? And for those of you guys that don't know who Mr. Pound for Pound is, this is the guy right here who I started, him and I started making videos together here. Matter of fact, the very first video I made on my channel, it was a collab with him. He's taking a break, but he's here. He sees me talking about Canelo and he shows up. He's a big Canelo fan. And hey, man, you're welcome to come on anytime, man. Anytime. But make sure you guys, I mean, I know he says he's coming back. I don't want to make no promises because, he said that a few times and he hasn't came back. But once he starts making videos, man, I want you guys to go subscribe to him, man. Good channel over there. And this guy is my family outside of YouTube, So I'm hoping to get him back. I want to get him, I want to get him on HCP so we could talk some more boxing. You know what I'm saying? But No Paul said something. I don't know if No Paul is still here or not. But he
I
talked
don't.
about how Canelo, he says Canelo was real generous to Cotto. Now, I'm not sure what that means. I know that that was a tough negotiations when Canelo and Cotto fought. What kind of information do you have on that, or do you know anything about that, Cano?
I don't know anything about that. I do remember the fight happening, but I didn't know anything about the negotiations at all. But hopefully, I cleared up what I was typing on there for Nopal, because I understand. So I'm not upset or anything. I can understand how typing and text. This is one reason I don't even like texting G Funk, because unless you're speaking to the person, they're gonna that text could be taken a billion different ways, and I didn't want that message to be lost like that.
No, you know what? That's a great point, man. And I kind of touched on that early about how back in 2011 when I first started, that was all we had. We make a video, and then you get people coming in the comment section. And I mean, I'm telling you, man, I spent days typing back to some people, days typing with people. And that's the beautiful thing about technology today is that now, look, I can just send you a link and boom, you come on and we quickly talk about it. Clear the air. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, no doubt. I think the best thing that happened for Canelo was that he's out of that now. He doesn't need to sign with nobody else, man. He is a big enough person now, big enough star to where he can get his fights, just like Mikey Garcia is doing, and just like Mayweather did back, when he got famous. You can do this by yourself, and if you do like go with like a PBC or something, do like Mikey did, sign 1 or 2 fight deal, and that's it.
Yeah, he's got a lot of leverage now being a free agent. He can just do whatever he wants. And I think that's great. Now we don't have any of these excuses like, well, you guys know how negotiations are, cross promoting and all that type of shit. Like that, to me, I could be wrong because again, like I said, I'm not very good with the promotional and the paperwork side of boxing. But that's what it sounds like to me. If a guy's a free agent, I mean, all that other shit's out the window now. We can't say one guy can't fight this guy because he's over here or over there. Like to me, it sounds like he can just go wherever he wants. You know what I'm saying?
But that's another misconception anyway. If 2 fighters really want to fight and they tell their manager, make
Yeah.
that fight, I don't
Yep.
care what platform they are, they're going to go through hell and high water to make that fight. That's a new generation excuse not to fight to me.
Yeah. I mean, that's something that I've said too. People don't always like to hear that,
It's the
but
truth.
yeah, yeah. And I'm glad you said that because I know that you've got more knowledge on the inside of boxing than I do. But we've seen it. The thing is, this like we've seen it. Like, look, the biggest fight of the year so far was Wilder versus Fury 2. That's a cross promotion fight. That's PBC. That's top rank. So I mean, at the end of the day, they can get this shit done, man. You know what I'm saying? They could get the shit done. And Mr. Pound for Pound here, man, he set a date. So let's see, guys. He says December 1st, he's coming back. So we'll be waiting for you, brother. All
I'm
right.
I'm still confused with no Paul. If Kano doesn't know about the code of negotiations, then it will be hard to reason with him. G Funk, I'm gonna ask you and be honest with me, man. When I explained and came on what I said about Canelo, did it make logical sense? Was it a bashing or anything derogatory or at all? Did I not I don't know. Just tell me the truth.
No, I don't think it came off that way at all. I think it was the responsible thing for you to, on your part, to come on and say, like, you know what, I'm just gonna clear the air and just say it without typing. You know what I'm saying? And no, Paul, if you want to come on, bro, I could send you a link too. We could talk about the negotiations with that. I mean, it's one of those conversations that I really don't like to have personally, because, like I said, I'm more interested in fighter A versus fighter B, and breaking down fights and things like that. Like negotiations and all that. Numbers and shit. Like, it's just never been my thing to get into. Like, I feel like as boxing fans, we shouldn't even get involved in that type of stuff. I heard, again, this is go back to Leaving in the Ring here on YouTube. The guy gets a lot of interviews. He spoke with um, Roberto Diaz, I believe his name is. I could be wrong, but I thought that was his name. But he's the matchmaker for Golden Boy, and he says, it irritates him to come on the internet and see fans go back and forth about negotiations. He's like, that shouldn't even concern you guys. He goes, people inside of the business, insiders don't even know the ins and outs of negotiations. So it's it's something that we shouldn't even concern ourselves with. And he also mentioned how the media, like guys like Dan Rayfield, how they tweet out or they share fighters' purses and pay-per-view numbers. He's like, you shouldn't even be doing that. He goes, yeah, but Rayfield's excuse was that the fans like it, and I believe that that's turned, it's made a lot of issues in the boxing community talking about these sort of things, but I mean, okay, I'll send you no, Paul. Give me a second, man. Let me pull it up. But what do you think about that, Kano?
Oh man, I'm just glad that we boxing is back. That's what I'm really glad of. I'm glad Canelo's out of that contract because at heart of hearts, I really believe he's gonna start pushing for the good fights now. Whereas when he was with the zone, I think they were a big part of why the bigger fights weren't being made. So I don't think it was really Canelo as much as it was Golden Boy in the zone blocking a lot of this stuff and that's probably be why he got upset and found a way out of that contract, so he can fight the best. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I'm glad that no, Paul, you can check your email or Discord, man. It's there. If you want to jump on. Yeah, I agree. I think this is great, man, that he's out of there. The zone has kind of put themselves in a terrible situation. Like it just, I mean, it just flat out failed here in the United States. Um,
Hope.
Canelo's a guy like I'll say this. Um, Before Canelo signed his contract with the Zone, and I mean it was a nice contract. You know, I don't blame him for doing that. You know, there's a lot of money there that they threw at him. Um, Before he started fighting on his own, you know, a lot of casuals that I know, they had no issue knowing when, where, time, date that Canelo was fighting. You know, it was not an issue. It wasn't until he started fighting on his own that I started getting, I mean, a ton of phone calls the Saturday, the morning of the fight. People asking me, isn't Canelo fighting today? And I'm like, yeah, he's fighting. Like, you didn't know that? Like, you normally know. They're like, well, nobody said nothing. I didn't see nothing. I had no idea how to do. How do I watch it? You know, like it was a mess. It was really a mess. And honestly, I think that hurt him, man. I really do think that hurt him. Because the zone, again, it's not the easiest thing to work with. Sometimes it's it's like, I mean, I've been on here calling fights and like it'll freeze, you know, and then I can't get it up to the live, like it's way behind. And
Yep.
I also even had problems like this. Now I don't have problems with this anymore, but you know, I would go to someone's house and, you know, I'd be like, hey man, there's fights on. Not just a Canelo fight, but any fight that's on the zone. I'm like, hey man, there's fights. Hey, well, let's watch it, you know? And I try to connect it to the TV and then it won't connect to the TV. Like,
Yeah.
you
Yep.
know, it's
Yep.
like that's terrible, man. Like those are things that they should have ironed out at the start of this thing if they really wanted, you know, this thing to succeed. And especially to have a big star like Canelo on your platform. Like you got to make it easy for his fans to watch his fights. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think Ryan Garcia is gonna be the next to leave. I can see that happening, and I also believe that's the reason. Look, I'm not trying to defend the guy, man. I'm just trying to speak facts. I believe that's the reason Devin Haney's having a hard time getting the big fights too, man. It ain't
Yeah.
like he doesn't want them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you know, that's that's the thing that we've been pointing out in recent weeks, because there's been a lot of talk about Devin Haney. Now look, I'm not going to come across, I know this might come across to some people as, oh, G Funky's a hater on Devin Haney. Look, I think Haney's a very young, talented, gifted fighter, but at the end of the day, he's still unproven. I mean, look, he's fighting a guy 38 years old, busted Achilles in Gamboa. And I mean, there's pictures going around the internet where Haney was like, I don't know, 5, 6 years old with taking pictures with Gamboa. I mean, the guy is
Yeah.
old enough to be his father, and you know he's fighting him. I mean, that's not a good matchup. But he put himself in that position. I mean, just like a lot of these guys talk about Terrence Crawford, right? Crawford was an idiot for signing with Top Rank. You know, he should have never re-signed with them. He should have just did his own thing. But look, Haney made the same mistake, and we got to keep the same energy for him. We got to keep it consistent. You know.
I think Haney didn't know better. Terrence Crawford knew better. I think that's the difference, because Terrence Crawford was already with Top Rank for a long time. I don't know, man. I thought his name. I don't know if you agree with me or not, G Funky, but I thought his name was big enough to where he didn't have to sign again. You know, he could have did his own thing too.
That's a good question. I mean, I don't know. I honestly, that's a tremendous question, because I mean, we know Devin Haney because, you know, we love boxing. We're hardcore fans. Like we know all the young prospects. I don't know if a lot of the masses out there that don't follow the sport the way that we do know who Devin Haney is yet. You know, um, I was hoping that, you know, the only good thing that I hoped for out of him fighting on the undercard of those two YouTube guys fighting would be that it would get him some exposure, you know, to a lot of people that don't normally watch boxing.
Mhm.
But it doesn't seem to, it hasn't seemed to pay off just yet, you know.
I
And
didn't mean Haney. I meant Terrence Crawford. I think Crawford could have got away with not re-signing with Top Rank. I think he was more known
Oh
I
yeah, yeah,
believe, that's what I'm saying. I think he could have got away with not re-signing with Top Rank, and still been a name to reckon with, and would have probably been able to negotiate fights a lot easier. I think.
yeah, yeah. And
Of
Crawford,
course,
yeah, a lot
that's
of
a roll
people.
of a dice.
Yeah, a lot of people have been criticizing the hell out of Crawford for his decision to stay with Top Rank. I mean, it's starting to look like those things have come true because I mean, look, he's fighting Kell Brook, a guy who hasn't fought at 147 in a long time. At least a couple years now. I think it was when he fought Spence at 147.
Yeah.
So, and I haven't heard much from him since. I mean, I know his eye got messed up in the Triple G fight. The eye swelled up pretty badly again against Spence. So I'm
It
not
was
sure
the
what he's been doing.
it was the opposite eye with Spence.
Oh, it was okay.
Yeah.
Um,
The opposite
yeah,
eye and his cheek. The cheek they didn't talk about, but Spence broke his cheek in that fight too.
yeah.
It was, yeah, so he broke his he messed up his other eye, the one that was good initially. He broke that one and his cheek. That's
Wow.
crazy.
Yeah, Abdurrahmani's had something like that too with his eye, right? That's why he's hasn't been fighting, or I
Yeah,
think,
yeah.
yeah. But yeah, it looks like no Paul. I don't know if he's gonna make it. And that's
Yeah, I
cool,
don't
man. That's cool. We
I
can have this discussion another time.
no, definitely. I just don't I was kind of curious to what it was that he couldn't reason with me with, because I think I was being pretty fair and unbiased and spoke it pretty clear, I think. I don't know. I don't understand. I'm confused. I am. I don't think I bashed him, did I?
No, I don't think you did either. But again, that's the Canelo cartel.
Hmm.
So that's what they do, man. They feel like they got to re. Oh, he's here now. Okay, let's see if we can get him on real quickly. Hopefully he's not on Taco Bell Wi-Fi. Let's see.
Actually, it's
Ora,
Walmart
Leo
Wi-Fi.
Paul, what's up, baby?
What
How
up,
you
guys?
doing,
What
man?
up, man? I'm doing pretty good. I had a problem. I mean, when you sent the link, I was inside Walmart, and I was like, oh shit, my battery's low, like at 20. So I'm like, let me iPhone charging cable. I didn't even know they had any there. Of course, they're not the main brand iPhone. I guess they're some off brand, but nevertheless, I made back in the car and the thing's hooked up.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you got the platform, brother. Speak your mind, man.
Yeah, I was just, I hear this a lot, people saying that all these secret clauses and stuff like that. I mean, a lot of the times, I mean, if we go back, I mean, there's like a record right there, a track record. Go back and look at the fights, you can see that it's always the biggest, uh, the biggest concern always is the fighter itself is money, and that's usually what has prevented these fights from happening. You know, in my opinion, I think these fighters that want to fight Canelo or that pretend like they want to fight him, they're asking for too much. And sometimes for like 1 million or like 0.5 million, they'll let go of a fight because they want a little extra. And I get it, I get it. A lot of them have a undefeated record, and you know, if they lose, they basically think their career is going to the gutter because they've built up all momentum, you know, and they want basically a retirement fight, is the way they're thinking. Because after they lose, you'll never, a lot of them think, well, maybe you won't, ever hear about me again, I'll just be another David Lemieux or something like that, just a name that doesn't stand out anymore. He probably tops makes like 1 million for every fight. That's what happened to Triple G. Basically, after that, he declined. As it was, he was already not making a lot of money. So a lot of these fighters, you can tell that it's the money, and I get it. Canelo did a lot of rehydration clauses on fighters, but that was back then, when he was coming up. You know what I mean? And you really gotta, for somebody to use that as a kind of like argument, you really have to, you would really have to tell me where it really affected a fighter, that Canelo fighted. What I mean that he fought. one of those rehydration clauses? I mean, you would really have to explain to me in which case it really, you know, affected a fighter's performance or something like that.
You
Well, I
ready for
know.
me?
Oh yeah, go ahead, Connell.
Well, first, it does depend on the fighter. It depends on what their normal weight is, because if they can't rehydrate back to their normal after the weigh-in, then yeah, it can affect their performance. But no, Paul, I agree with you on the rest of that stuff. I never said that it was an excuse to get out of a fight. All I said was it makes negotiating harder. That's the only thing I said about that.
So yeah, see, Colonel, that goes with every single fight. It's not just, it's not fair to just shine light on it when it comes to Canelo and the fights that haven't made because of those reasons. And if you look back, a lot of these fights, the reasons why they haven't ever made is because the dudes are on different networks and they're already signed to an exclusive contract with that network, meaning they're not allowed to step out of the network to fight some other guy. Even if it means that he's gonna get paid $50 million, $20 million, 3 or 4
Okay.
times what they've done in their career. They're just
But
not allowed to step out of the network. Now that he's with PBC, all these fights open up, and Canelo can negotiate whatever he wants now. Now we're gonna see kind of like, okay, now they're more possible. Let's see
I
who's
didn't
touching who.
I didn't pin him against the wall by himself, did I, G Funky? I mentioned that other fighters have done this, and it's part
Mm-hmm.
of boxing. I said Doug Mayweather did it before. He was when he was A side. Teofimo's probably going to start doing it now. It's part of negotiation. I didn't single out Canelo on it. I don't know if you heard that part.
Yeah, yeah, he did say
I
that.
thought in the comment section he did look like it, sort of. I'm just clarifying that. My main point is, rather than look at, you know, the fighter that's making it, let's look at the other guy that's saying no to the biggest payday. For example, well, I'm not say that Charlo does Canelo. I understand. He was on a network.
I didn't catch all of that, but I didn't
Contract
say
to show
he.
that.
I don't
Even
know.
though
I
the
don't
dude's
know.
only making dollars and you can retire with that.
I don't know if he
Hey,
ducked him or not. That's the thing. We don't know the fine print. We don't know behind the closed doors. That's my point.
Let's say if I drive uh,
so no, Paul, I'll ask you this, man, because you had a bone to pick with D Style and I over the Charlo negotiations. And right in your defense, you rightfully had your bone to pick with us. Um, but if there's anything else that you know about the negotiations between, or I should just say not negotiations, but the contract that Golden Boy sent to Arlo for Canelo for the 15 million that was put out there, what is it? What is it that you know about that?
I believe that question
No,
was for you, no Paul.
no, Paul, you there, bro? Oh,
Definitely wasn't for me
actually
because I don't know.
trying to pick up a better Wi-Fi signal, bro. I'm on I'm on data right here, so for some reason it's not up.
okay, I got you.
Okay, I kind of hear you guys better now.
Okay, now I just
Can you
asked
guys
if
hear me?
yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear us? Oh, he's got a bad connection.
It's
But
all right, but hey, can I reply
All
to
right, I'm
Sontel
back.
real quick?
So what
Never
I
mind. Go ahead.
did was,
oh, go ahead, no, Paul.
yeah, I mean,
Uh,
All right. Well, let me reply to Sontel. Sontel says, in my opinion, it's not that easy to leave Top Rank. They have the best lawyers to write contracts. Look what they took Mikey, blah, 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 blah. I'm not talking about the initial signing. I'm talking about him re-signing. I think he could have been better off without re-signing to Top Rank the second time, not the first time. Obviously, the first time made sense for him.
yeah. Um, yeah, it's boxing is such a tricky game, especially when it comes to contracts. Now, I mean, other sports, you know, NFL, NBA, MLB, like those contracts are pretty. I mean, I'm not to say that they're straightforward. I'm sure they're complex too, but there doesn't seem to be as many, you know, holes in it or whatever you have it when it comes to these boxing contracts. You know, we're gonna try No Paul one more time here. Let's see if he's doing all right. No Paul, can you hear us? No Pales, can you hear us?
What up, bro?
All right, can you hear us? You good?
Uh-oh.
The only thing I'm gonna say you guys here is, you know, from now on, you guys should, you know, try to tell the other guy is doing to not.
This ain't working.
Yeah.
This ain't working. We're not gonna get clarification.
Now going to gauge it. So, you know, you gotta look what your guy's doing to kind of like duck this fight, really, because I mean, this shit's getting old, man. Come on, about the secret clauses and all that. I mean, you gotta tell me what secret clauses we're talking about.
Clauses and stipulations are part of negotiation in every fight. I don't know. I can't. I give up. I cannot reason with him. Hey, listen. This is part of boxing. This is part of negotiations, man. Whether anybody likes it or not, it is part of it. Some people reject the offers, and some people accept them. It's just the way boxing is.
Yeah, that's always been my understanding of it too, is that, you know, there's going to be things in there that favor the fighter who, you know, generates the most money. And I mean, do I like it? No. I feel like it should be an even playing field, no matter who's who. I mean, like I said, if we could just compare it to other sports, it's not like LeBron James gets to play on an 8-foot rim and the other guys get to play on a 10-foot rim. You know, now don't get me wrong, he gets the benefit of the doubt sometimes when it comes to, you know, fouls and things like that. You know, getting calls from the referees. But again, it's not like, you know, like I said, he doesn't get the kind of advantages that are just so obvious that we see sometimes in boxing. That's really the part of the game that I hate, man. But it is what it is, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. There's got to be an A side, just like there's a number one seed. You know, you get to pick, you know, where we want to fight. We will fight Las Vegas, Madison Square Garden. You get little perks like that. But you know, when they get overboard with it, it irritates me. And like I said, hopefully Nopales can come back and replay this and listen to it. I'm not singling Canelo out. There is various other fighters doing the same thing, and I don't like it for them either.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you 100%, man. It's been going on a long time, and to me, it seems like it had been. No, I mean, I could go back to Sugar Ray Leonard. You know, he did some things, you know, A-sided guys. But recently, it seems to me it has been more put out there to the public, you know, and then that's why these kind of conversations happen. Because
social media.
Yeah, I feel like it's just people have gotten too involved in it, you know, and I personally don't like it, but you know, some people like it. They like the leverage, you know.
Yeah, man, look, I've seen fighters get promised something, man. They go in there and fight, and when the end of the fight is, they don't even get a check, bro. I have seen this in person myself. This is why these contracts are being gone over with a fine-tooth comb. If there's one dot missing, they're not accepting the contract. People need to understand that some of these fighters have left out of there without a check.
Yeah, I agree. And I've heard, and I'm not going to put too much into detail what I've heard. You know, I do know guys that have fought professionally. Had one of the guys here on my channel. We had a good discussion. You know, he's told me some thing off the record, and I won't expose them here, but, you know, it's sort of to the light of what you just put out there, Cano.
I mean, I'm around it all the time, you know. And Sonteo Media, Cano, they tie you in. Mikey couldn't get out because of the small print. They make you resign if you defend your belt. So basically, he's tied in forever unless your lawyer is smarter than theirs. Hey, I appreciate that information, Sonteos. I wasn't aware of that, so I'm gonna give you that W right there. I don't know. If you saying that, then I'm gonna take your word for it, sir.
And Sonteo, I did see this today too on Twitter. I did notice that where he said he had been getting Jason Sosa said he had been getting screwed for a long time. Now he says he was too busy concentrating on training and things like that. I mean, oh yeah, it's tough, man. Unless you have a legal representative, you know. I mean, most of these guys. I mean, unfortunately, they're not going to be able to read that contract and you know clear everything out in there on their own. You know, I mean, it's it's tough. Some of the things they put in there, man. I mean, I don't like it, but it happens, man. And that's another part of the sport that needs to be cleaned up, man. Maybe we'll talk about this. I have a series going in the early spring called "How to Fix Boxing." Brought up a lot of most of the normal stuff, like you know, too many belts, you know, too many weight classes. Judging, like a lot of these things that we already know is bad, but to me this is kind of turned into an interesting topic. Contracts, fighters and their contracts and things like that. So maybe I'll get another one of these shows going, and if you want to join, Cano, you know, you're more than welcome to, man.
Oh, definitely, man. But I mean, I even got a close friend that professionally fights currently right now that gave up his check to the opponent just so he can get a fight that day. You know, I mean, man, listen, man, it just goes a lot more than what everybody on the outside sees. And that's why I hate when people say, oh, this person is ducking this person, or that person's ducking this person. Man, 9 times out of 10, that person that you calling the duck probably got screwed early in his career and is trying to make sure it don't happen to him again.
Yep. I agree, man. I definitely agree. But man, this has been great. I'm glad that Nopal, you know, we had him on for a short time. You know, the Taco Bell Wi-Fi wasn't working out for him. We got to get this guy on Starbucks, man. Starbucks Wi-Fi, okay? It's much better.
I didn't mean to keep you on here past your time, G-Funk. I know you was trying to make it short live, but hey, you know.
No, you know, it's cool, man. As long as it's a good, relevant topic, I'm good with it, man. I love talking boxing with you guys, you know, and HCP, we're doing our thing, man. We're gonna grow this thing. We're gonna continue to keep it boxing, and you know, we're gonna leave the other stuff, you know, where it needs to be. But I want to thank you for coming on, man, and speaking your mind. That's what my platform's all about, man. I don't mind it, you know.
Man, you know, I'm always available. Well, unless it's late at night, you know, the old man has to go to sleep early. But you know, unless it's a fight night, you know, usually I'll be up. But you know, but listen,
So,
man, can I
so
say?
you say you're gonna call the fights tonight, right?
That's I was asking on Discord if anybody was gonna do live commentary. I was thinking of doing the Fox card instead of the DAZN card. I didn't know which way y'all were gonna run with it, so I didn't want to cross commentary on the same fights if any of y'all are going on them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you, man. You know, I was thinking about it, man. I'm not sure.
I did last time. Remember, I covered the Matias fight, and then I sent everybody over to you for you to cover the rest. I don't like stepping on each other. I try to keep it to where we can hand off to each other and keep it moving. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah. And I do the same. You know, I try to do the same. If somebody's live, you know, I'll cut it and then you know send them over there. That's all we got to do, man. It's the brotherhood, you know, HCP, Hispanics, Hispanic. But I'll definitely let you know, man. If I'm gonna do anything, I mean, I'm leaning more towards unlikely. I'll do any fight commentary, but we'll see, man. So just go ahead and do your thing, man. You know.
I don't even know if I'm going to do it yet or not, man. But for the folks that have never been to my channel, listen, all I do on my channel is pre-fight predictions, post-fight reactions. Once in a while, I'll do a interview, and sometimes I'll speak about an up-and-coming prospect. I don't do, and nothing against, I'm not knocking anybody that does this. Please don't let this be misunderstood. I don't get into the gossip or the back and forth of who did this, who did that, who called who what. It's not my lane. I leave that to the pros of that stuff.
Yeah, me too, man. I try not to get involved into that kind of stuff. Just I'm all about fighter A versus fighter B, and then post fight. You know, that's what I love doing here, man. But I want to thank you guys out there. Bruce Goes is here, man. You caught us late, baby, but it's all good, man. You know, you could always check the archive if you want. But I want to thank everyone for joining. I want to thank Nopal. We had him on for a short time. Cano Loco, again, if you guys aren't subscribed to him, and make sure you subscribe, okay? Got a good channel going on over there. And we're gonna wrap this thing up, man. We will see you guys on the next one, man. We are out of here. Have a good day.
HCP, HCP.
HCP, baby. That's